I know that story, Barbie. I know it well.
That has been today's Product Displacement. Today, Product Displacement, of course, brought to you by Enthusiastic Woman Online and the Enthusiastic Woman Network. And today, here is a word from Verbena Wackenfield, founder and CEO of the Enthusiastic Woman Network.
Hello, I'm Verbena Wackerfield. I'm the CEO and spiritual doula of a television network, but I'm also a mother. And like every mother, I often ask myself, what can the teacher tell you that the raccoon doesn't already know? The answer is nothing. That's why I created Pharaoh Homeschooling, my educational program that puts children back where they belong, in Mother Nature's womb, the forest, where they can acquire all the knowledge they need to transcend their material existence, like quantum mysticism, hoodoo, neo-shamanism, and algebra. In fact, sign up today and you'll get a free paleo math abacus. Teach your children to calculate like the caveman did.
Brought to you by Enthusiastic Woman Online, we birth success. It's always nice when our CEO stops by.
Raccoons are smart.
Yes, very. I was thought those extra thumbs. Extra thumbs. Yeah.
So important that children know hoodoo these days.
It sure is. In algebra.
Now we move on to our segment. Did you see this? Did you see this? Katie Couric is out there. And at first, this was one of those things that we weren't sure if it was an actual story or a brand, right?
Yes.
Right.
So we all, the three of us, generally have a background in marketing, and we're content producers, and so we tend to pay close attention to the content that brands are producing to promote themselves and their products, and that was the case here. So earlier this month, SK2, which is a Japanese luxury skincare brand owned by Procter & Gamble, which is an American company that makes everything from Crest to Pampers to Pepto-Bismol, released a series of 4 documentary-style films that are each about 5 minutes long called Timelines that they made in partnership with Katie Couric, and she hosts it, and it was produced by a Swedish ad agency called Forsman and Boden-Fors. So it's basically a 4-part documentary that goes in depth into sensitive topics like marriage pressure and societal expectations that women face in the Asia Pacific and the United States, and you can see them all on YouTube. And it's part of SK2's ongoing hashtag Change Destiny campaign that challenges the expectations that women face in society, you know, around getting married and milestones related to age and feeling expired and living up to expectations of your family. So I think we all took a look at these 4 short films and had a pretty good impression.
And I have a little clip of what how the first one started, just so we can kind of get the tone of it.
Who is drawing your timeline? I'm about to explore what happens when dreams clash with expectations. We're all supposed to hit certain milestones: a degree, marriage, a family. I'm Katie Couric, and in this series I'll be meeting young women who are defining their own lives while navigating the expectations of the ones who love them most.
Maluka is more of a free spirit.
You know, being from an immigrant family, you come here, you go to school, you get married, buy a house, have kids. The American dream.
I'd love for her to be married. And I'd love to have a big wedding.
So I do think that, you know, from watching all of these vignettes, I did think it was a very interesting story. And as far as like these brand strategies where they go, we're going to do storytelling instead of actually doing an ad, but then it still turned out to be an ad, because there's lots of places, like once I really sunk in that it was supposed to be an ad, then I'm like, oh, that's why they did this particular, she's leaning up against a wall looking beautiful and she's doing this and doing that. And so
they did all look gorgeous.
Yes. Yeah. You know, like, I mean, just amazing. So does it make me go, do I feel like they are we buying into them showcasing these stories? Or because it does seem very authentic, but then I also was like, but this is just you selling me your stuff, you know, kind of thing. So I was kind of curious.
It was a soft sell because they didn't talk about their products and they didn't show their products.
Right. Right.
You know, if I have to choose between a conventional commercial and something like this, I will choose something like this, even feeling, despite feeling a little bit, not a little bit, but feeling manipulated, right? Like all advertising does. But I will. This is more entertaining.
All content is sponsored. Let's put that
True.
out there.
Very
and
much so.
In the old days, it used to be, you know, Ed Sullivan Show brought to you by you know, Kellogg's Corn Flakes,
right.
or whatever. They had to have some kind of person sponsoring it. I mean, it may be a little bit back to front, but I don't think it's terrible to have product sponsored content.
I do also think that sometimes this way, as you know, I do wish that there was a little bit more disclosure, but I kind of looked at it as more of a.
Well,
they would have
I
almost and I you know, and I almost felt like, you know, the fact that we do have some of this type of content that also showcases and does good in the community. I am a fan of that.
I mean, they went and got Katie Couric,
Right.
and she agreed to do it. So I'm sure she had certain parameters around.
She has a media company now.
Yeah, she was probably like, you can't do this, and I'll only do it. I mean, I'm sure she wouldn't have done it if it was a complete hack job.
I am fascinated by, like, SK2 was new to me when we started looking at this, and as I went into, as I always say, into their rabbit hole, I was fascinated to find, to discover the kinds of branded content that they do, and, you know, apart from this documentary series, so their ingredient is Patera. That's what they really try to market in their products. That's their claim to fame. And so they have gone as far as having songs written and recorded by John Legend about Patera.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
It's all on their YouTube channel. They have done. They've gone really. You know, obviously they're an Asian brand, but they've recognized that there's this crossover into the United States market for beauty products, especially skincare, and they're blending those two worlds. James Corden did a series for them. He does the Patera Masterclass video series. So they do a lot of, it's very, I would say, media forward. They're very smart about it, and also culturally forward in that they're blending all these different markets and different cultures and recognizing that the world is kind of shifting away from being unicultured.
Patera, is that what we're talking about?
Yes, that's the one.
All right, I'm going to try and pull that up while we're
It's a little ballad from John Legend about Patera.
I loved. Oh, here we go.
Oh, Patera.
This is so lame.
Patera. Oh, Patera.
So John Legend's for sale.
John Legend. So is James Corden. He's going to come in.
Oh, yeah. Of course he's for sale.
My skin has never been smoother.
Oh my God.
It is funny though. They're clearly spoofing it though. It's a spoof video.
Is it?
And you see him and James Corden. This is a joke. It's them.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like he's trying to be less than Corden.
But he's beautiful. And his voice.
Okay.
You see what I mean though? It is just a bunch of different stuff.
It is
blended
funny.
together in a really cool way.
Yeah. I am enjoying this. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is funny. At least
I watched all of the Katie Couric timelines, and I thought they were really good.
I agree.
And I thought it was really interesting with this younger generation. I did the thing where you get a degree and then you get married and you buy a house and you have kids. And that timeline blew up in my face. And I still don't even really know what my timeline is for my life at this point. And I thought it was, for 5 minutes, so well done. And I thought the timelines were beautiful. What they did was Katie Couric would sit down with the young woman and talk to them about what their hope and dream was for their life and what they felt was the expectation on them by society, by their family. And then she would sit down with the mother. In one case it was a conservative friend, but usually it was the mother, and say, you know, what is your dream for your daughter's life? And there were two, then at the end they would get presented by two timelines. And the first timeline was normally a straight line, which was the expected timeline by the mother. And like I said, it's normally this expected, you get a degree, you get a job, you get married, you have kids, very straight line.
And some of them, there wasn't even necessarily the degree. Was like, I felt like some of the parents were saying that because they're going, you get a degree, but they really didn't care.
They cared so much about getting married, and
they were like, we thought you'd have a family. We thought we were this, and I could, you know, and I
by an age,
right?
too.
You know, they're like early 30s usually is what it was, and so some of the parents, they were very loving parents, but you could see this look of grief on their face because this is what they thought they were going to have. So it was interesting from both perspectives.
So you'd have a very straight line timeline, and then you would sort of have this very, and I love that they were visually done with neon. They were done with neon, and then TV screens that would put words on.
Like every few feet there'd be a new screen.
And then the dream of the young person was represented by a nonlinear timeline that would wave and would say things like shining.
Right.
And, you know, whatever it is that the person wanted to do, so that instead of just thinking that there was going to be nothing for their daughter if they didn't do what was expected, like this dark, like unknown, they could actually see that this went on and could be visualized.
Right.
It was so well done.
And you could feel the force of emotion on both sides. You
Right.
could, you know, the daughters who are struggling, or daughters or granddaughters who are struggling with wanting to, well, as the hashtag says, change their destiny.
Yes.
And then the
And
mothers
it got them
and
to
grandmothers.
talk, too. I mean, I did that to myself. I think I was very much like, by this age, I need to have this. And by this age, I need to have this. And by this age, I need to have this. And then I really hit a wall in my late 30s, and stuff wasn't what I thought it was going to be that timeline. You know, my timeline would have been a straight line and then, like, exploded.
It turned into a big squiggle. Yeah.
I think that's the Gen X experience.
Yeah, and so, I don't know, I thought it was really, really beautiful and really visual. And, you know, now I think I'm on this path where I'm just like, I'm this breadwinner and I am, you know, a head of a household and I need to provide, and that's happening, and I have that responsibility. I don't know what I am after that or beyond that. I just know that I have this big responsibility of being a head of a household and providing.
Well, I do think that normally when we said, did you see this, we ask that as kind of a question. But I think if you have not seen this, we would encourage everybody to maybe give this a look. You know? So it'll be a very interesting viewing
But I mean, did you guys like it too?
Yes.
I did very much.
And did it make you think about yourselves or your timelines?
Yep. It absolutely did.
Yeah. So it's like going, you know, it actually made me kind of okay that my life does seem like a squiggle. Because I chose it to be a squiggle, you know, kind of thing. And so
you did a mix of following dreams and getting married and having children. But yeah, you fit yours all in.
Yeah,
too.
I've been a squiggle for a while.
That's awesome.
You know, so I'm just kind of like, all right. So it made me more okay with it. Like whenever I watch a minimalist thing, it makes me okay the fact that I've given away a bunch of my stuff.
Yep.
So so if you want to feel like maybe if you're going, how do I? If you need a little external justification for being what you consider non-standard, I think watching this makes you kind of go, it's all right. You know, just because this is what was set up for me.
Does that skin company want to do one on older women and have Katie Couric come here and interview us and make timelines?
I think they would. They are very multi-generational.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I really like about their
If
content.
they're paying James Corden and John Legend, they're not above anything.
Katie, I need you to come with your TV screens and your neon squiggles and make me a timeline.
Come to us, Katie. Come to us now.
Please, you can find us at ibirthsuccess@gmail.com.
Thank you.
All right, time for Does This Make Me Old? I brought this story up here because here's the thing. I feel like of the three of us, I'm usually the most forward in my musical taste just because that is part of my job is to really pay attention to this. So I was talking about some recent articles that came out with young artist Billie Eilish, and you guys were both familiar with her, but I'm going to play a little piece of a couple of her songs in the background while we're doing this. So Billie Eilish, she's kind of one of those artists that has been classified in the alternative rock category kind of because she doesn't fit a lot of categories. Like she's not full on pop, she wouldn't be country, she wouldn't be that. She has to have a wide variety of songs. So this is one of the ones that people are familiar with. This one is called Bad Guy. Billie Eilish popped onto the scene pretty much a couple of years ago and is really super taken off. She was like, she just had her first full tour that she's going to be out there all over the country. And we want to remind everybody that she is now 17 years old, which is where this particular story picks up. Billie Eilish, along with being kind of this interesting, what we'll call avant-garde artist at the time, because she doesn't fit into a lot of categories. She also has a tendency to dress in what is kind of a less standard way. Usually she wears some clothing that might be super, super oversized. So not even like a little